my first question is around youth. Like, so there has been a particular focus at this corporate youth. Like, I have been filming protests, I have been filming activities, I have been filming youth movement around the city, inside the venue, outside the venue, and I see a lot of anger among the youth. Like every single observer organization, they've come here and they feel marginalized to a certain extent. They feel they have not been included. When you speak to them, they are simply like, no, our governments have not consulted us on their NDCs, we have not felt included. And that is a similar trend that we have been seeing across border. It's not just one country or the other, barring of course some like Nepal, who has sent a complete, like, their only youth delegation. But youth in general are feeling marginalized and they are really angry, and you can see thousands and thousands of people protest on the street. So what do you think, like, from your observations, from your understanding, because you have been around in a lot of meetings for the past 6 days and you have seen a lot of things. So from your perspective, how inclusive have these meetings been from a youth perspective?
Um, so before answering on the question of inclusivity, let me very much touch on the point that this is a moment where the agency of youth and the urgency of the climate crisis have to be merged. Youth as a constituency has been fighting to get included in the larger climate change debate, not just at COP but also at regular levels, because ultimately it is the future generations that are going to be affected by the climate crisis, irrespective of their regional locations or the socio-economic strata. Now, in the perspective of what is happening at the COP, so that being said, the anger within the youth is very much justified, and that anger is justified for the simple reason that they want to see real action. And this is a clarion call that lots of youth groups have, that we want to see real action. But let me give you an insider's perspective that to get real action, you really need to find solutions that are agreeable to all parties. Now, it's very much true that climate change is not just an environmental issue, it's also a socio-economic issue, governed by strong political motivations. Until and unless you find the right economical considerations to move on climate action, you will not see countries moving forward. So when you talk about countries, in the developing world like Brazil, India, South Africa, who are, of course, huge populations, emerging economies, or in the Southeast Asia, their economic imperative is very strong that they need to merge climate action and find economic opportunities with that, which is where the green recovery agenda comes in. When you look at developed countries, right, who have already industrialized themselves, who have, of course, occupied the carbon space, and who have, of course, have a level of privilege and understanding in terms of when they approach climate negotiations, they have huge delegations. The youth there is demanding real action in terms of divestment of fossil fuels away from it. The youth there is, of course, demanding real action in terms of urban resilience and solutions. In that perspective, I would say that when you have this different quagmire of concerns and one clarion call from youth and indigenous groups, it is difficult to find a solution until and unless you align everybody on the same path. So on that front, I would say that yes, youth is not included in these discussions, but there are strong enough youth representatives within these working groups who are part of these different constituency meetings, but it's a struggle. They are still not on the same table. And I would say that my real understanding is that I as much as I appreciate and value the youth that is protesting outside and that is also community organizing and creating citizen-centric solutions, they need champions from the inside. They need people who are empathetic to their cause, people who were themselves youth icons before and are now working within the negotiation framework to bring in those voices, because otherwise we will have positions but not interests aligning.
I mean, absolutely, I agree with you on those points. But then again, there always is that point. I mean, if we as youth, like people who are protesting outside, if they are the ones, like they are just citizens, right? Like the people who are in these negotiation handling, like they have been elected. They've been elected for a reason. It's their job to come up with solution. It's people outside, it's not their job to come up with solution of things. It's people on the inside, it's their job. So it's right for them to demand ki, okay, you give a solution. Like, and a lot of criticism around the youth movement has been ki they are only barking, they are only saying anything about the problem, they are not giving a solution. But it's not their job to give the solution. It's the people on the inside. They are elected officials, they are elected governments, they have, churned through the bureaucratic process. They are policy makers. It's their job to come up with solutions. It's their job to implement them. So this is the point that I wanted to add.